You're here. Welcome to the Masterminding Success podcast. They say if you want to be successful in business and in life, then surround yourself with successful people. So pull up a seat. The mastermind is about to begin.
Hey, glad you could join us for another episode of the Masterminding Success podcast. We're your host, Keith Wheeler.
And Nuria Corby.
What are we talking about today, Nuria?
Today we're going to talk about claims we hate. So who makes those claims? Why do we hate them?
Yeah. There are quite a few claims, and it seems like they get more and more as time goes on. And my biggest fear is, especially with recent KDP book blockings and terminations, that people are going to fall for these claims and inadvertently get their accounts, either their books blocked or their accounts terminated. So I really want to kind of shine a light on these claims, and I think the general idea is something that I was taught at an early age, which I think most people were, which is if it seems too good to be true, it probably is. I think that's a good general rule for just life. But yeah, there are a few claims that in particular seem to be coming out more and more lately that I really think that people should be made aware of.
Definitely. I think, claims have always been made. When I first started, there were claims as well. But I think that at the moment, because things are, I would say, a lot more complicated than they used to be, because there is just things have been, or things have developed with self-publishing, I think. Amazon have quickly changed their tactics as well, because they've obviously seen a big influx of low content, no content books coming on the platform, and that needed to be regulated in some way. So there have been a lot of changes since I started. And I know people were making claims then that it's very easy to upload a book onto Amazon. Those are the type of claims we're talking about, that the promises of quick money and getting rich by self-publishing either low content books or any type of books, really. And those claims, I feel, have just increased over time. I think I remember them being around in the days when I first started, but there seems to be many more now. Do you feel that as well?
I do, and I think what they take things that are new in technology or whatever, and they add that little spin to it.
Yeah.
Like one of the claims that I hear a lot now, that if you take the claim at face value, can get your books blocked or even get you terminated with KDP, is how easy it is to publish a book using AI.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
You can go on to, and I'm just using these as an example. You can go onto ChatGPT, type in, give me 10 niche ideas, and then you take those niche ideas, and then you can go into AI and say, write me an outline for this idea. Which, don't get me wrong, AI has a place. I use AI in my business. It's great for outlining a book. It really is. But then they'll go to maybe a different one, to spice things up, so they don't go to the same platform. And they'll say, okay, write me a 50,000 word book about this topic using this outline. And while, yes, as of now in KDP, you're able to use AI generated content, and you're able to, you do want to go in and answer the questions properly. Yes, I used AI. This is what percent I used. This is the AI that I used. That said, AI is yet to get to the point where it can mimic a human writing. And if you take something and you take that at face value, that claim that you can just use AI 100% and publish a book, can you? Yes. Should you? No. Because you need to at least read it. You need to even if you're not a writer, you still can read it and make tweaks and things like that. You should still get it edited, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Because KDP is going to start blocking people more and more, and probably even terminating accounts if they see it happen, either quite frequently with that same account, or if it's just, you know, too blatant. And especially if it's a newer account, you know, you don't have much of a track record with KDP, they're going to be a lot more liable to just terminate your account, thinking that you're just in it, you know, for the money, and you're not in it to put out good quality. And so there's a lot of risk that comes into listening to any one person, even if it's just me. You know, there's other opinions out there. But when it comes to claims like this, again, it goes back to what I said before. If it seems too good to be true, it probably is. You know, if, you know, Amazon's number one priority is obviously as a business to make money. The way they do it is by giving the customer, you know, the number one priority in their eyes. And so if what you're putting out there is garbage, and it's getting negative reviews, and it's or it's even perceived by the algorithm ahead of time before you even get those negative reviews that it's poor quality, you will get your books blocked. If you're lucky, you'll only get them blocked. You could just get your account terminated.
Absolutely. I'm glad you said if you're lucky, because it's exactly that.
Yeah.
It is too risky to do anything like that. I don't quite understand why people think that if you're taking those kind of shortcuts, that they're going to be okay with that. That's definitely not the case. And if you look on Amazon's guidelines, they have rewritten them. They have added things about AI, and especially what I found very interesting is the bit where they said that if books are too similar to other books already on Amazon, that they will block those books as well. And I think that's what's actually happening, because there are people, and I've seen the claims that are being made are basically, you can feed this book title into this app or whatever they bring out, and it will then create a whole book for you at the click of a button. It sounds great, you know, wouldn't it be nice if that really worked? But it doesn't, because what you're doing is you're creating something that's already out there. So it's not really unique. It's not a new perspective on anything. So you're just adding to the noise, and Amazon sees it as that. They know that, you know, your book is not really adding anything special to their platform. And I just think most of the claims that I hate are the ones that promise something really easy is going to make you a lot of money. And the reason I hate it is because it's not true.
It's not true.
If that was the case, there wouldn't be any poverty in the world, you know, because everybody would be doing something really simple and making lots of money. There's a lot of work that goes into writing a book, into creating a book, and there are no shortcuts as such. There are things that can help you, and I totally agree that AI is a fantastic tool to help you. But it's not a fantastic tool to do the work for you. That's a different thing. And I've seen examples of, because I sometimes type things into ChatGPT or
I do it all the time,
and I think, I wonder what it would do with this, just as a, you know, just to find out, because I'm in
brainstorming,
and also I'm in awe in how it works, because I think, wow, you know, this is, at the moment, it's not as advanced as it's going to be in 2 or 3 years' time, and imagine what it will be able to do then. But even so, even now, I'll say, write me a story about so and so, and it will do that. And at first glance, it looks like a relatively good story. But if you then read it properly, you do realize that it is repetitive. Sometimes it goes into very stereotypical sort of situations, and it's not that well written. So I think, you know, people need to be very careful. Writing a book is not about, you know, giving ChatGPT a task and then putting that on Amazon. That's definitely not the case. And I just think it's bad when people claim that it's possible to do that, because people are going to get their accounts terminated or their books blocked if they're lucky,
Right.
like you said
Yep.
earlier.
Yeah. And the truth is I don't think I would want AI to get to the point where you can just put in a similar book and say, here, write me a book that's 50% similar to this or 75%. I don't want, because then what would happen is everybody would do it, which means everybody would then be fighting for the sales, which means you got to lower your price. And next thing you know, it's not worth it financially. You know, I mean, you'd have to put, it'd be like having a business, and not that there's anything wrong with this, but it'd be like starting out now and having your business be nothing but notebooks, unless and you just generate, very plain. I mean, obviously the interiors are going to be pretty plain if it's just a notebook, but you don't have any theme behind it. You don't have a niche or anything. Then you're going to have to publish thousands of books to make it financially viable. And is that really worth your time? You know what I mean? Like, there's so much, the number of books that you can, like written books or puzzle books or whatever, that you can create and create less of them and make more money than just doing something that's, quote, easier. But because of that, everybody's doing it. And so therefore, you have to price it, rock bottom.
Yeah, that's absolutely true. I mean, and if everybody starts doing the same thing, you do get that saturation that everybody keeps saying, Amazon KDP is saturated. It's not saturated, but if you're going to put out things that are already on Amazon, then of course it's saturated. I just think that is where people kind of don't understand that you have to come up with unique books, unique stories, unique topics. The other thing that, I mean, all these claims are not necessarily all AI related. There are lots of claims also out there that are not to do with AI, and sometimes they're just the kind of claims that say, do this one thing to increase your book sales. And then that one thing is something that is really, really simple, but actually that doesn't work, because when things are too simple, is what you said earlier, if it's too true to be good, if it's too good to be true, it really isn't. Some things are so easy, the way they claim, just do this one thing and you will sell lots of books. It's not the case. The problem with that is that if you're telling people easy things, that's what people want to hear. And I think you probably agree with me on this. When we make videos about things that are really going to help you sell your books, but they're not easy things to do, those videos don't really get the the views that we would like. And it's only the ones where we talk about really simple things that can make you lots of money. They would be the type of videos that would get the views. But of course, we don't go into those because the same as you, I guess, we prefer to make videos that are actually helpful, and even if we don't get so many views. But the kind of things that they say, especially, for example, just as an example, the keywords, that there are so many claims out there that say, do this, do that, and it's all wrong because all this keyword stuffing that people are doing, they're actually being taught that, and still people are doing that, where they say, put your keywords in the title and subtitle and just, put as many keywords in as possible. And then that is, we know that's not what you do. You can get your books blocked, but there are still people doing that. And they're the type of claims that are easy to implement. It's easy to do that. And the promise is that they will make you sell lots of books, but it's just not true. Plus your account can get terminated. So
yeah. I mean, I've seen just as of recently, I think a book that was published a couple months ago that still had keywords in there, like at the bottom of their book description. And I'm like, what? Like, are people still teaching that? Like, that's ridiculous. But it's not just, I mean, yes, we're talking about, we don't want you to get your books blocked. We don't want to get your account terminated. But I also don't want to see people losing money. And one of the other claims that just drives me nuts is, how easy it is to run Amazon ads. And don't get me wrong, going back to what you were saying, I don't make claims, and neither do you, that do this and it's super easy. But what I do try to do is take something that's difficult and make it easier.
Yeah.
But there's people that are like, run Amazon ads and you'll make X amount of dollars. But there's a lot before that. Is your book even ready to get Amazon ads? And there are 5 or 6 things that you want to make sure that your book has done properly to better your chances of having a successful ads run. So yes, running Amazon ads and to a book that's not ready for it isn't going to get your account, your book blocked or your account closed, but you're going to lose a lot of money doing it that way. And so again, that's just one more claim that is not AI generated or not AI related. And also it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with blocking your books or terminating your accounts, but it's still a claim that I wish didn't exist. It drives me nuts because I know people are, desperate to get their books sold. They, either financially desperate or maybe they just want that good, that nice warm fuzzy feeling that other people are reading their books.
Yeah.
And so then they watch these videos or they read these blog posts and oh, Amazon ads are this easy and it's just a couple of clicks and I will say Amazon has set the ads platform up so it is pretty intuitive, but it's also really easy to lose a lot of money doing it.
Yeah. Tell me about it.
Yeah. And it's not just Amazon ads, Facebook ads, same thing. I mean, Facebook's ads take your money even faster.
Yeah.
But again, they don't explain that. They're just like running ads and if you think about it, at a high level, if you run ads, more people are going to see it, more chances of getting sales. Absolutely. But that doesn't mean you're going to get the sales.
No.
And so, and they don't cover that part when they make these claims.
Yeah.
So again, that's just one more claim that just drives me nuts. And I wish that there were ways that we could, we could take those down or at least, add a little addendum to it. Like, don't, the best thing we could do is do an episode like this to kind of, draw it to people's attention.
Yeah, absolutely. I totally agree with ads. Ads is the one thing that I feel I still haven't mastered as such because I don't think anyone can master them. I think every book that you put up there will have a different ad strategy to it.
Yeah.
And sometimes even the same book, I stop an ad because it's not producing anything. Then I run the same sort of ad again and suddenly it's selling. So there is absolutely, in my opinion, no rhyme or reason to how ads work. I know there is, but it's very difficult to run a really successful ad campaign. Of course it can be done and people are doing it, but I don't think it's a simple process. I don't think that it can be something. It's not something that can be taught with a simple formula or anything.
Right.
Like some people are doing, they're saying, do this, this, and that, and and that's how you sell lots of books. I don't think there is such a thing. I don't think, because it all depends on the books that each individual produces. So, and they're all different. So that's the other claim that I don't like either, because it kind of simplifies things, or any of those claims, they tend to simplify things and make you feel like this should be so easy, and then it turns out it isn't. And that's where people then write to us and say, I'm running this ad campaign and it's not producing anything. Shall I increase this or shall I do that? I don't know the answer to that, because it's really trial and error. It's something that you have to keep trying. There is no formula. And this is what I regret, when people present things as some kind of formula. This is what you have to do and you will get this result. No way. You won't get that result.
Yeah, because not only is your book different, but your competition is different.
Exactly.
And so even if you're in the same niche that your last book was in, your last book did great, how many more books have come out in your niche since then?
Yeah.
And there's so many different elements that go into it. And even, I mean, even if you have a quote successful ad where you're actually making a profit, it's still done properly. You shouldn't end there. You still want to make it more efficient. And we've done episodes on running Amazon ads, so I don't want to belabor that too much. But it's not simple, and it's not, and it, like you said, each book that you do an ad for is going to be a little different.
Absolutely.
Whether it's the keywords or the type of ad that you do is going to, might be different. There's if you've got Kindle, you've got the lock screen ads. There are a handful, in my opinion, of genres where lock screen ads work well. So I might do a lock screen ad on this book, but I'm certainly not going to do it on most of my other books, and vice versa. So yeah, just again, I think it really comes down to it drives me nuts when people make things super simple or make it feel like it's simpler than it is.
Yeah.
I'm all for trying to make things easier on people, trying to maybe pull back the curtains and remove all the myths that people have, and sometimes just the fear behind it because they don't understand it.
Yeah.
I don't think Amazon ads is a big scary monster like a lot of people think, but there are certain things you need to do behind the scenes, and looking at and analyzing your data and stuff like that is not necessarily super easy. And it's not something that you can just set it and forget it, unless you have like deep pockets and you don't worry about losing money. But what bothers me the most about all of these claims, besides the fact that, like we said early on, some of them will, if you're lucky, get your book blocked, if not get your whole account terminated, is when people do it, when they follow these and they're not seeing the success that they're quote promised, they think there's something wrong with them. They think that they did something wrong. And many times just say, oh, this whole making money with self-publishing books is a farce. It's not real. And then they just stop. And that breaks my heart, because it is absolutely possible to make a good income self-publishing books. And so that's probably the main reason why I dislike these types of claims. One, because I feel like it's just taking advantage of people, and you're risking their accounts just so you can get more views, or so you can get more, more clicks on your blog post or whatever. And while you're still, your YouTube channel is still out there, or your blog post is still out there, they got their account terminated and they can't create a new KDP account. And I get those messages all the time, at least daily, where I'll get a message saying, my KDP account got terminated. What can I do now? And so that, I don't like any time when people take advantage of good people who mean well, who just want to try to do this whole work from home thing that everybody's making a big deal about, and this, creating my own online business, things that everybody should have the possibility to do if they want to. And then with just following the wrong advice can change it all.
Yeah, I agree. And especially when people are just starting out, they tend to be the first ones that don't really know. I mean,
Right.
I think for us, when we watch a video like that promises quick money, we just look at it and laugh and think, oh yeah,
Right.
sure. But when somebody is new to the industry, they don't really know, and they see a video like that and they think, wow, that sounds like something I can do, and then they follow that. So that's what's sad about it, because it tends to be targeting people that are new or that are vulnerable in some way, because they don't know the background, or they don't know enough about the industry, and that is what worries me about it as well, because it kind of they need to think about that this is, for some people, this is a way of getting out of their financial situation, possibly, So,
Right.
I mean, I started doing this because as soon as I saw that I was earning a bit of money, I thought, wow, somebody else might be able to do this. So if I tell my story, it might encourage them, and I'll tell them what I did. And that way they can maybe copy me and get to the same point as I am in, because I was excited about it. It is a good way of making an additional income. But I don't think I ever said it was easy or that it was quick
Right.
to do that. And I think this is where people need to be careful. There are no quick ways of making money online. Some people are lucky and they might have done it quickly, but it's not the norm and it's not what generally happens. So you do
Right.
have to be, I think we talked about this in another episode, where you have to have certain expectations and they
Right.
have to be on a level that is achievable. If you expect something to make you money very quickly and lots of it, you've got to think, hang on a minute, this can't be right, because otherwise everybody would be doing it. And
Right.
so there is a fine line, there is a balance. Yes, you can make a second income or even a main income, but it will take time and it will take effort. And if someone promises that it's going to be quick and easy, then it's probably not true and it's not the way that you should be doing it. So it's all about not expecting success too quickly or too easily as well. So that's why I don't like those kind of claims that, that give people false hope almost, because
Right.
if they need something quickly or they need to make money quickly, and of course it doesn't work, that disappointment is really bad. I know, because I've I've
Yeah.
felt it in the past before. So,
Mhm.
if you're desperate, of course it's going to be even worse. And it doesn't sit well with me. I think that, I know they get more views on their videos that way. And they're not telling any lies. You can make money doing this, that, and the
Right.
other, but it's not as easy as you're making it out to be. So
Right.
I'd be a bit more careful with things like that.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. And especially, like I said, you were talking about people just starting out.
Mm,
And it's like I said earlier, that the biggest thing is when, if you're just starting out and you don't have a track record, like I said, with KDP,
mm,
you're more likely, in my experience, to get your account terminated than someone
yeah,
who's maybe been doing it for 10, 12 years, and they've got, you know, dozens of books or hundreds of books out there. So that then they're more likely to say, okay, well, they did something wrong, let's block that book, as opposed to terminating the account. So
yeah.
again, not to deter people, because you know, this is absolutely still in 2024 a viable option. Any kind of advice you get, whether it's from me or somebody else, take it with a grain of salt.
Mm,
Sit back and ask yourself, is this too good to be true? Does it feel too good to be true? Because I've even seen it happen with my son when he published his first book. He published his first book and it sold really well, and I was happy for him, but I also let him know that's not normal.
yeah,
That's, you got a unicorn. I mean, it didn't sell millions, but it sold really well, especially for his first book. And then he published his second book, which was similar in the same genre, and it didn't do well at all. And I'm like, okay, this is more realistic.
mm,
This is more realistic. So um, even if you happen to be one of those unicorns and you got a book that really did well, I'm kudos for you. I'm extremely happy. But when you publish that next one, if it doesn't do it, understand you didn't do anything wrong necessarily. It's just, this is more um, a realistic expectation.
mm,
And I'm all for goals. I mean, I one that touts to, you should always have long-term goals and short-term goals. So go for having goals, but set your expectations
mm,
properly, and understand that to reach those goals, it's going to take work. You're going to have to do things. You're going to have to, if you don't have a lot of discretionary funds, then you're going to be spending quite a bit of time promoting your book, using free methods that
mm.
are usually more time consuming. But it's still absolutely doable. So again, all these claims that are out there, I don't want to deter people from what the claims are, like the overall goal that they have, which is, what they're saying is, you can make money self-publishing books in 2024. You can make money running ads. You can, whatever the claim is, it's just probably not as easy
Mm.
as what they're making it out to be. And
Absolutely.
especially especially if it claims to be super easy and you're trying it out before you hit publish and you try it out and it was easy, check out another quote guru and see what they say about the topic, or or do a little bit more research on it. There's plenty of Facebook groups. You've got groups, I've got groups. There's plenty of Facebook groups that you can reach out to and say, hey, I read about this, or I saw a video about this. I did it. It really does seem easy. What do you think about it? And then chances are you'll get at least some people telling you multiple sides. And that's when, you always want to, anytime you do anything in life, especially in business, you want to make sure that you have different points of view. And so, that's what I would suggest. It's very easy in this business to be introverted and just kind of, stay in your own head and just you and your laptop and don't talk to anybody else. And a lot of people in this business are introverts. And so it's very easy to do that. And so I strongly suggest stepping a little bit outside of that. And like I said, getting other people's opinions. If you don't want to talk to people, again, check out multiple channels or multiple, blog posts or whatever from different people to get different perspectives. Because it's, what I don't want is I don't want people to fall for these things and then get their books blocked or their accounts terminated.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. I think it is really important to hear different opinions because I remember when I first started, before I even published a book, I watched so many YouTube videos, and it does give you a broader perspective of things, because I did watch a lot of them where they made outrageous claims, and the people presenting the videos were in Bali, working on their laptop in the sun on the beach. And I had my suspicions already then, but it's the kind of video, who I'm talking about, probably.
Right. Yeah. Oh, no, I know you're talking about.
Yeah. And it's possible, but it really paints such a lovely picture, and you get drawn to it and you think, wow, could this really happen to me? But it's not as easy as that. There is a lot of work involved as well. And I kind of always say, I'm thinking of an example where I might have said something, and I always say, do this one thing to sell more books, and that is A+ content, which is true. Without A+ content, you've got less chances of selling your books.
It will definitely help, yes.
And it helps. But I made a whole series of videos about A+ content in the hope that people would, find that useful. And I'm sure many did, but did those videos make big numbers, big views? No. They don't seem to be, because it's not easy, because making A+ content is not the easiest way to improve your book sales. There's work involved. And I think that is a good example of something that you do have to do before you can take another step and another step. So there is a lot of steps, a lot of work involved before you've got your whole finished product and then make the sales. Because when I upload a book, the book itself is not just the book. That's not the product. There is all the work behind it, the advertising, the promoting, the A+ content, all of that is part of that process to get those sales. And that sounds like a lot of work, and it is, and it's not attractive to people. So of course, the claims that get the views and that people listen to are the ones that make it sound easy. So that is the problem.
Yeah, maybe we need to do videos that say A+ content made easy. And
yes,
yeah,
definitely.
Yeah, but I agree, and it's, to me, it's always been about the channel. Everything has always been about trying to help people, trying to help them learn from my mistakes, and trying to make things easier, like I said before. But yeah, people, there's a difference between promising the moon, which is what I think these claims are doing. Like they're promising you all of this can be yours if you just do these 3 easy steps, and one, the way they make it sound maybe easy, because yeah, I mean, you can go to KDP, you can upload your book in 3 easy steps. They've got three
It is
easy,
easy.
three tabs,
Yeah.
but they, they don't tell you about the keyword research in order to put into the 7 keyword slots. They don't tell you about, putting in a call to action on your book description, writing a good book description that's going to entice people to click buy now. There's all these different, they don't tell you about, how to format your book and all that, all these steps, these 3 tabs, these 3 steps, but each one takes work, if you want to do it properly. I mean, like I said, you can do it just to get it done, just to get it, a book published out there. But that's when you've got the chance of getting your books blocked or your account terminated,
Yeah.
And so the goal is to make that process as painless as possible, and make it as easily to digest and easy to understand, but understand at the end of the day that realistically, you're not going to click a few buttons and make a ton of money.
I think that is basically the gist of it. I love KDP, and it's changed my life in a really good way, and it's possible to make a good income self-publishing your books, but I just don't like the way they make those claims promising that it's going to be
Right.
easy and not very much hard work, where I know that it's not that easy. I mean, it's relatively easy. Like you
Mm-hmm.
said earlier, it's relatively easy to upload a book on Amazon KDP, but
Right.
creating the book is not that easy. Not if it's something that's going to sell.
Mm-hmm.
Promoting the book isn't that easy. It's not quick. It's all different steps. Like I said
Mm-hmm.
earlier, you have to take before you can have some kind of success. And that takes time and it takes effort, and it's not as easy as they make it sound,
Right.
because it's getting your video out there and seen by so many people, and also blog posts. I've seen lots of blog posts that
Right.
promise all kinds of things, and it's not really like that. It's painting a picture that's not really the reality of self-publishing. But
Yeah.
I hope that by us talking about it, it makes people think about it not in a negative way, because I wouldn't want people to think of this as a negative. It's
Right.
actually still a really good opportunity to
Absolutely.
put in some hard work and get a result, because I'm a big believer in getting a result from your hard work, and KDP is one of those places where that is possible. But I also want people to be realistic and know that just because you've created a coloring book that you might have created based on somebody else's coloring book that's very similar, that's not necessarily going to give you the sales that you need to create a full-time income. There are different ways of doing it. But the thing is, it takes time as well, because you learn as you go along. As you
Right.
publish one book and then you publish another one, you start learning what works and what doesn't. And again, that's a positive thing, because
Mm-hmm.
every time you publish a book, you've learned more and you're discovering something else, and that is what leads you ultimately to success. But it takes
Yeah.
time.
I
Yeah.
agree. I agree. And the truth is part of it is you need to just step back and think from the customer's perspective. If
Yeah.
you take, in your example, if you take a coloring book that already exists and you make one that's similar,
Mm.
as a customer, why would I buy yours if there's already one that's out there that's already has 50 reviews and yours doesn't? Why would I buy yours? You know what I mean?
Mm.
So why waste your time creating something like that
Mm.
when you're already setting yourself up to have competition,
Yeah.
that similar. And so it's, like you were saying, this is still, KDP is, and just self-publishing in general has been amazing, for me and my family, and while yes, there is still work that goes into it, I've also, I mean, I've managed phone rooms, I've, managed restaurants. I mean, being on your feet for, 18, 12, however many hours a day, depending on what it is. This is not nearly as physically difficult as that. At times, depending on what I'm creating, it could be mentally just as difficult, if not harder. But and this is something we can talk about in a whole nother episode, but you were talking about, people videos, showing them in Bali stuff. You can do that. You can travel to wherever. I worked when my wife and I were in Cancun. I was able to work from wherever, from my laptop.
Yeah.
And that's definitely one of the major benefits of this type of business is I can do it from anywhere. But again, it's, it took a lot of work to get to where I'm at. And so, is it something that is still a viable option to make money self-publishing in 2024? Absolutely. But there are also a lot of claims, whether it's on YouTube videos or blog posts or videos you might see pop up during social media, when you're scrolling down, Facebook, again, I think it all comes down to what I said at the beginning, which is if it seems too good to be true, it most likely is. But again, if you do whatever they tell you to do before you hit publish, ask yourself, was this too easy? Ask other people, watch other channels or whatever, just to get that, multiple, viewpoints. I mean, look at all the major successful businesses in the world. They don't just have a CEO and then the workers, they have, presidents, vice presidents, and everything else, all these other like-minded people to get different perspectives on the same thing to be that successful.
Absolutely.
And you should do the same thing for your business.
Yeah, I think that's a great example. Definitely.
Well, this has been another great Mastermind area. Once again, a huge thank you to all our listeners and viewers who came to tag along. If you enjoyed today's Mastermind, please consider following or subscribing to the podcast, and maybe even leave us a review and let us know what you thought. Until next time, I'm Keith Wheeler.
And I'm Nuria Kobi.
Have a good one.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for joining the Mastermind today. Be sure to follow the podcast on your platform of choice and tell a friend who would enjoy it too. Your support is greatly appreciated. This has been the Masterminding Success Podcast.